first, man, one of the funnest games of the NBA season last night, and one that wasn't supposed to be. Again, more on the losing team in about 10 minutes for carving up the context. But the Los Angeles Lakers, in a thriller, beat the Milwaukee Bucks by a final score of 128-124 in Milwaukee. They actually sweep the two-game season series against the Bucks, doing so in both games without the king himself, LeBron James. Anthony Davis was a man amongst boys. There's no other way around it. And a court that included Damian Lillard, a future first ballot Hall of Famer, and in a court that included Giannis Antetokounmpo, who I believe to be the third best player in all of basketball, Anthony Davis was absolutely the best player on the floor on both ends. But AD, in 52 minutes, dropped 34 points, grabbed 23 boards, shot 12 for 31 from the field, and 3 for 8 from three-point range. Hit some big threes. Hit one that got a friendly bounce in overtime, which tied the game when it looked like the Bucks were maybe sort of starting to pull away just a little bit. I'll get to Milwaukee again in 10 minutes or so. I want to focus on the Lakers, though. This is why, and this hurts to say as a Warriors fan, because Lord knows I'm not exactly a Lakers fan. I'm a LeBron fan. It's much easier to root for LeBron now that he's in LA instead of freaking Cleveland. That said, no ill will towards Cleveland. But I've said all year, I don't care what their seeding is. The Lakers are a title contender, full stop. Even in a Western Conference, which is loaded. I mean, I saw today that we see Boston's absolutely just abusing the Eastern Conference right now, right? The gap, though, you compare Boston, the gap between the 1 seed, which is the Celtics, and the 2 seed in the East, which is currently Milwaukee, and you compare it to the Western Conference, which currently the 1 seed is the Denver Nuggets. The gap between the East 1 and 2 seed is the same as the West 1 through 9 seed. Translation, East isn't that strong, not to take credit away from Boston. I think they're going to get to the finals. But the Western Conference is all jumbled up. Oklahoma City's good. Minnesota, most people believe in them. I'm not one of those people. I'm a big buyer into the New Orleans Pelicans this season, and I'm a buyer into the Los Angeles Lakers. Denver, obviously, they're the defending champions, and I believe the favorites to win the title. And the Lakers can beat them in a 7-game series. Will I pick them? Of course not. They've lost, 8, 9, 10 straight games to the Denver Nuggets? But all of those games have come down to the final 5 minutes. And Denver has mostly done in those games what they do to just about everybody, and that's execute to perfection. With that 2-man game, Jokic, Jamal Murray, it's almost impossible to stop. Miami didn't have answers for it. Lakers didn't have answer for it. Suns, Timberwolves. If we're talking about the postseason run a year ago, and really the whole league hasn't had an answer for it all regular season. And to me, Denver, with respect to Boston, has looked like the best team consistently this season. But with the Lakers, if Anthony Davis is your second best player, and again, I firmly still believe LeBron is the Lakers' best player still. I still think he's their driving force. I still think this team is barely a play-in team without LeBron over the course of an 82-game season. His leadership, his toughness, still is able to bring it in spurts defensively and still gives it to you offensively on incredibly efficient shooting. And again, is still the leader of that basketball team, gets the team in and out of sets, yada, yada, yada. But they have length. They have size. They have shooters. They have a consistent, at least recently in the last month, consistent number 3 option on this team. We know LeBron and AD is the 1 and 2. We can argue about who's the 1, who's the 2, but those are the clear guys. Austin Reeves is absolutely the number 3. With respect to D'Angelo Russell, we know he's a 0 in the playoffs, like Jordan Poole level, defensively and offensively is extremely streaky and can be very, 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 very inefficient. Austin Reeves tend to be more consistent on that end of the floor. And if you look at the Los Angeles Lakers, really since they've started to kind of pick it up in recent weeks, although they leave much to be desired the defensive end as a team, not Anthony Davis, but as a team, Austin Reeves from October to January wasn't playing that great. He was averaging 15 points, right? 48% shooting. Okay, 34% from 3, but he was a minus 133 in totality. From February through what's almost done, what's left of March, or what's passed by of March, he's averaging 18 points a game, so up 3 from the previous few months before that, shooting 50% from the field, 43% from 3, and is a plus 69 in totality. So Austin Reeves is giving you a big minute. Austin Reeves, by the way, triple-double last night, was excellent. Excellent night for Austin Reeves, right? What would he give you? 29, 14, and 10. Hit some massive shots down the stretch, hit the go-ahead shot for the Lakers down the stretch in a game that they won in double overtime. When you have length, size, shooting, when you have a LeBron James, we know his playoff resume, it speaks for itself. And the questions for me about this Lakers team was never the roster. I've always liked the roster because of the reasons I just mentioned. I don't have any questions about LeBron. Do I expect him to be 2018 LeBron? Of course not. But none of us should expect that of LeBron. He's 39 years of age in year 21. The two key components. One, I still have massive questions about. His name's Darvin Ham. Pushed the right buttons last night. Props to him. Taurean Prince didn't get a ton of minutes throughout this game. I don't know what's up with his love of Taurean Prince. Nice player. Liked an Instagram post of mine years ago, but in general, not a guy you can play consistently on a team as good as the Lakers. But Anthony Davis, and I said years ago, 3 years ago, 2021, I remember vividly, I coined the name AD. AD does not stand for Anthony Davis. It stands for always down. Man, the guy just gets hurt every single game every other game you watch. In his last 100 basketball games, folks, Anthony Davis has played 96. So in terms of durability, knock on wood that this continues for his sake and for the Lakers' sake. I don't know. Looks pretty good. And by the way, there's a couple times down the floor. Didn't seem to be 100%. Seemed to be limping. By the way, in a game where he played more minutes than anybody, 52 minutes did Anthony Davis play last night in the double overtime affair in which Giannis looked gassed. And Giannis is in incredible shape. Dame, in great shape himself, looked gassed. Austin Reeves looked tired. Anthony Davis just consistently going at him, being able to knock down perimeter shots. Now, I don't want him taking 8 threes in the playoffs per game. I'd like him to stay down low or in the high post, in the mid-range. But when he needed to hit those shots, he did. And on the defensive end, and I was texting my buddy Barry Grant Jr. last night. Shout out to Barry, All Even podcast host, massive Lakers fan. And I told him, I said, the fact that Rudy Gobert is about to get his 4th defensive player of the year before Anthony Davis gets one is a joke. It is a joke. Rudy Gobert cannot guard the perimeter like Anthony Davis. Heck, Rudy Gobert, even this season, is not the shot blocker Anthony Davis is. Anthony Davis is averaging more blocks and more steals per game than Rudy Gobert. And if we think about the playoffs, 80's had some stinkers. But can any of us name the big Rudy Gobert playoff moment? I mean, he was the 1 seed years ago with the Jazz. They had some good teams. They had Donovan Mitchell and Quinn Snyder's a good coach and nice shooters. Mike Conley. Rudy Gobert was nowhere to be found in those series. He'll be nowhere to be found this year for the Timberwolves in the playoffs. I don't anticipate them going very far for a myriad of reasons. But if this guy plays like this, that roster, once LeBron comes back, assuming he's somewhat healthy, they can win the West. Full stop. Folks, in the 4 years that the 5 years that LeBron James was in LA before this season, the Lakers won less than 40% of their games with him out of the lineup. This year, they're 6-4. So remember we used to talk about the Cavs all the years, like, man, well, LeBron's off the floor. Just pray that the team doesn't get obliterated by the time he comes back in the game. And at times, even earlier this season, I remember watching Lakers games against the Nuggets or against the Suns. Bron steps off the floor and they get pummeled. Now, doesn't look like that's a problem, assuming this keeps up. Now, again, my major concern for the Lakers is Darvin Ham. Because Darvin Ham prides himself. He's a defensive guy. Lakers are a bad defense. Indiana, I get Indiana's an awesome offensive team. Indiana dropped, 140-something points on them this past Sunday? That can't happen. Now, again, Indiana's a skilled offensive team. Doesn't guard anybody. But, again, I think this team get the right matchup. If the Lakers match up against OKC, picking the Lakers. If they match up against the Timberwolves, definitely picking the Lakers. If they match up against Denver, I'm probably rolling with the Nuggets. But if the Lakers somehow find a way to finally win those close games, because, again, they haven't beaten the Nuggets in, a year and a half? But how many of those games have been tight and just the Nuggets made a few more plays than the Lakers did down the stretch? Some of it's coaching. Some of it's Anthony Davis has struggled against Jokic, which in AD's defense, everybody struggles against Jokic. The man almost never has a bad game ever. Win those close games. I'm sorry. That team can win the Western Conference any day of the week. And I hated to see it as a Warriors fan because my Dubs got a big win over the underman Heat last night. I was hoping to see the Lakers lose a game so we could kind of make up some ground on the teams above us in the play-in standings. It was not able to happen, but nonetheless, exciting basketball game. Anthony Davis was nothing short of phenomenal. We got to give credit where it's due. If we're going to call it, Charles Barkley called him street clothes. I called him always down. 96 of his last a potential 100 games played. He's been in his number 3 Los Angeles Lakers uniform. And by the way, I've called him, listen, it's appropriate. We can play it today. I've called him coin flip Davis. You don't know what you're going to get. Heads or tails in the playoffs. There's concerns there, and I still maintain those. But in terms of on the defense, I've never doubted AD on the defense. I've never doubted AD on the defensive end. In terms of durability, yeah, I think the questions about that, I think those can be put to bed now. Props to Anthony Davis. And I get the Lakers are sitting there. Oh, they're the 9 seed. Why do we care about the Lakers? They're going to get out of the play-in tournament because I think they're going to jump to the 8 seed because I think Phoenix is going to fall to the 9 seed because have you seen the Suns upcoming 10 games? This next 10 games for the Phoenix Suns, who keep in mind are only 2 games ahead of the Lakers right now. The Phoenix Suns next 10 games. Dead serious. This is insane. So tonight, they go on the road to play Denver. Then they go to Oklahoma City, at the Pelicans, home against the Cavs, Donovan Mitchell's back. Home against the Timberwolves, home against the Pelicans, home against the Clippers, at the Kings, at the Timberwolves. Like they don't play an average team the rest of the season. So listen, I don't buy in the Clippers in the slightest, but they're a solid basketball team. So I have a feeling Phoenix is going to flounder down the stretch, go something like 5-5. And the Lakers will go somewhere around 7-3. That's what they need to do if the Suns go 5-5 at best. And the Lakers would therefore get the 8 seed. They beat Dallas, I believe, or Sacramento, whoever that game ends up being. And Phoenix would fall down to the 9 seed to play my Warriors. Houston's not catching the Warriors. Come on. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube. And be sure to go click that big red subscribe button and check out the other clips and full shows from Carving It Up Live, as well as our other incredible content creators here on the Grid Network.